This is Althaven's exclusive live stream of Predation. If you're eager to witness the live action firsthand, join us on Twitch every Monday night at 6 p.m. PST on twitch.tv/Althaven. If you're savoring what you hear and want more captivating content, explore Althaven's other remarkable podcasts, like $2 Creature Feature and Pest Control. Our extensive backlog spans from the mystical realms of ghosts, werewolves, and vampires to the cosmic adventures of Star Trek and the heroic tales of superheroes. Your support is invaluable to Althaven, and we appreciate every moment you spend with us. Thank you for being part of our haven.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to The Strange. Eric Campbell, your GM for this evening. Welcome to Legacy of Silvercreek, back here with the Stream Punks. We got a big game ahead of us tonight. Lots of plans are being laid down by the party. So I'm going to go ahead and say, let's just do some quick announcements tonight, and then we will jump into tonight's story. Does anybody have anything they'd like to announce before we kick things off? If not, I've got one. Go ahead, Noir. What's up?
Hey, thank y'all for leaving YouTube comments. That's really cool. I had a couple of bad days, and I read a couple of the comments, and it made me smile. So just thank you guys for that.
Thank you on behalf of Noir's friends for that. All right. Anybody else got any? Yes, Caitlin.
Thin Places Radio, or 10 minutes or less tiny audio fiction podcast. We will have our next episode comes up this Friday. We're every other week now, so I forget when I have to announce it, but it's this Friday will be our next episode. You can check it out wherever you listen to podcasts.
All right, sweet. The only announcement that I had this evening is for anybody who is interested, this week on my personal League of Whimsy Discord server, we are going to be opening up an RPG channel for Star Trek Adventures solo play. So if you're interested in going over there and checking it out, you get access through sub on Twitch or my personal coffee account for the League of Whimsy. And that will give you access to the Discord server. We're also looking for mods. So if you're interested in being a mod, if anybody's interested in modding, do check out the application that is up on the announcements channel should you pop in. And definitely, if you intend on playing, definitely grab a copy of the Captain's Log solo adventure book by our good friend Michael, because it's fucking awesome. It's just a good thing to have for a Star Trek adventure. And stay tuned. It's not live yet. It's going to be going live soon. So yeah. Anybody else have any announcements that they'd like to pop out there? Nobody else? Nobody really? Nobody really? Not a single. Yes.
Am I nobody to you?
I finally figured you out. Dun dun dun. Go ahead.
Oh, that
Ask
means that
comments.
I'm like Odysseus. Like, no one did, and then you stab the Cyclops in the eye, and then you're like, lol, it was I, Odysseus. And then the Cyclops is like, curse you, Poseidon, mess him up.
Why do you even need me?
Like, I got you.
Why am I here tonight?
Understood. But that is a fundamentally unsafe procedure. And if you want to learn more about safety, specifically safety science, you can learn about really like mechanistically cool new reason why regulatory agencies are making policy to keep us safe by watching the latest episode of May Contain Science on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/@delevely, DELEVELY. Brominated vegetable oils. Way more interesting than they sound.
Take your word for it.
I know, right? You really wouldn't think, but I broke out a periodic table to explain a food additive, and that's pretty effing wild to me. So go check it out. It's weird and cool. I wouldn't have thought so. I was intrigued, and I think you will be too. But until then, all of the intrigue must be confined to the secrets of Silvercreek and legacy thereof.
Well, that was a good segue.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, did you say you were excited? I feel like I can't start the game until that's I didn't hear it, and so I wasn't sure. I've been programmed.
We've it's true.
Say the thing, Sam. Say the thing.
Programming the Campbell 6000 has taken tremendous effort, and we will not, in fact,
years of work.
It's been
Since you looked at.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Okay.
There it is.
Okay. Let's begin tonight's episode of Legacy of Silvercreek. I don't believe him. Jake says we're live, but I don't know. I guess.
I don't know who to trust anymore.
Yeah, I know. It has been broken. Yeah, all right. All right.
I feel unwelcome now.
All right, let's go ahead and jump into tonight's story. So when we last left off, you guys had made a pretty big decision to pop through different realities in order to get an upper hand on what would appear to be an incredibly dangerous rogue AI that is intent on, you're not sure what, but it sounds like maybe becoming a god of some kind. In which case, some of you have decided to return to that particular rogue AI's original reality of origin in order to, we'll see, but apparently get an upper hand to acquire something that will help you take her down. There's also the question as to how this is going to interact with the fact that Dahlia apparently is a clone of, or derivative of, or sister of, or somehow connected to this rogue AI. When we last left off, the decision had been made to jump realities and accomplish this with or without the estate's help. And if I remember correctly, it was mostly without the estate's help. That y'all were just going to do this on your own. That was further inferred by the fact that you broke into the estate's database and started swiping some information from them, learning a little bit more about who they are and a little bit about their history. One of the things that you learned about who they are and their history is that the estate apparently is actually, from what you could gather, a trustworthy organization that is doing the best they can to keep everybody safe. They have a history with somebody called the Betrayer. And the head of the estate apparently has a history with him. How that ties into the rogue AI Theta, you're not entirely sure. Not everything has been made clear. But after uncovering enough of this information, you all begin to formulate this plan to take care of this on your own. You'd been making decisions about where you were going, and specifically, you were headed to the recursion that Theta is native from. This recursion looks pretty spectacular. Specifically, it looks like a city on the moon. Well beyond anything any of you have ever seen. The decision has been made to jump into this recursion to see if you can't find, essentially, if she's got some kryptonite laying around that you can take back with you. Not everybody is going. I don't know what the full plan is. I know that y'all were talking about the possibility of dividing up the party before you did some reality jumping. And as you were having this discussion and getting ready to go, the prisoner, Orega, came barging in to the infirmary, closing the door behind him and said, "You're not leaving without me, are you?" And that is where we are picking up seconds after this has happened. Orega, as he has entered the room, has his palms against the door that he just came in, like he snuck in. And it's pretty clear he should not be out of his prison cell. And he has pressed his back up against the door and occasionally is glancing back towards the crack in the door just to look as much as he can down the hallway before he looks back at everybody and says, "So when are we leaving?"
We?
Yeah, we?
You think you're going somewhere without me? Do any of you know a thing about traveling through the strange? Have any of you ever jumped into another recursion before without an opportune gate? Do you know how to translate? Do you know how to gain access to another recursion?
I know that I don't trust you anymore.
It's a lot better than just jumping into the strange without having a destination or how to get there.
I thought these very nice people at the estate who, put you in a fancy force field were going to teach us all the stuff we needed to know. They want us to go back home, too.
You're not going back home, though, are you?
What are you talking about?
I don't know, but I'm sure a certain head of the estate is going to ask me what I'm talking about. And when Agent Manners questions me about where you all went, I'll just have to tell her because I was left behind.
As much as I would love to argue with him, I don't think that we have the time.
Agreed. So, when are we going?
Now,
Have any of you translated before? I mean, without the gate. Your first time was the gate, yes?
Yep. I mean, I took some
Just a
language
quick-
classes that one time, but
So we're just gonna be blackmailed. That's the plan. That's just what's happening.
I guess you could try to kill me.
Well, that's rude.
It
wouldn't
also
really
just
be
sounds
that
messy.
It would be
I mean,
messy,
look.
but it would be in the infirmary. Not that I'm trying to make a case against myself here.
we could throw him back to the estate. But
The estate will
mean-
know that you're headed to Luna 1 and that you broke into their files.
How do you know?
Because
headed
you're
to
not the
Luna
only
1.
one that can do things with the powers of the strange.
Oh,
What can you do?
I can help you translate into Luna 1.
and avoid answers. Let's.
I'm a thief. I'm not going to tell you everything. All I want is to get out of here. My goal is to get to Luna 1. Once I'm there, we don't have to ever see each other again if you don't want.
Then let's begin.
That's one vote. Unless he's your leader, in which case, shall we begin?
no one's our leader. But if the most skeptical, distrusting, protective person I know,
These are all accurate, yes.
then I'm going with what he thinks.
I want to go home. And I know that we've been talking about a moon for the past little bit, but that is still, I would like to make it clear that I still would like to go home.
I stand with you.
This might be the first time we've ever agreed on something, and I don't know how I feel about that.
The end
Well,
game.
get used to it, I guess.
The end game is for everyone to end up where they want to be, but the longer we talk about it in what could potentially turn into a hostile environment at any second, the greater our chances of failure.
I just want to go on record that the last thing that I said to this man, do you remember what I said to you?
Me?
Yes, you.
You. No.
No, you don't remember the threat that I told you that if I learned her powers that I would use it on you?
Oh. Yes. Yes.
And Dahlia puts her hand like against the screen like she did last time
Mhm.
to like extract information.
Okay. The screen reacts and you see it pixelizations begin to flood towards your fingers like water being drawn down into the center of a well. And he watches for a moment and says,
If anything happens to them, I will come for you.
he shrugs and says, you're all the only ones doing anything about this theta. So if anything happens to them, I think a version of you is coming for all of us.
All right, smartass.
So, shall we begin? We don't have a lot of time, and this is not, I should warn you, always a predictable thing.
meaning?
Doesn't matter who you do this with. Jumping from recursion to recursion is an event, and sometimes can be a bit of a roll of the dice. Literally. All right. Just need to make sure. He glances through the crack in the door and he says, I cannot believe how much unfettered access all of you were given for this. Truly. As being native to a recursion, they are very trusting, especially since one of you wears the face of one of their mortal enemies. And he glances down the corridor again and says, okay, let's do this. Everyone sit in a circle.
Oh.
Like you're all a bunch of friends around a campfire. Sit in a circle.
Clover sits.
Now,
Sack sits, crisscross applesauce.
anything you're bringing with you? You have it on you?
Yeah.
Something you should know. The recursion that we're jumping into. Luna 1. Your first time translating. This is different than running through a gate. You are going to be absorbed into this new recursion. The reality in which you are about to enter is going to accept you. But the only way it can accept you is if you play by its rules. So, don't be surprised if you show up looking a little different.
My question to you would be, some of us desire to go back home while the rest will be going to Luna 1. Is there a way for one translation to send people in different destinations?
I can teach you how to translate. You're all very obviously quickened. And at least one of you is a paradox, which I can work with that. It'll be easier for each of you to translate to Gravak because you're from there. You know exactly what it looks like. You're from this place. Translating requires familiarity. I don't have enough time to explain it to you now. Suffice to say, you can't get to Luna 1 without me. I've been there, so I know how to guide us to this recursion. You would typically need something like an artifact, or you did see the images on the computer, so those actually could be used technically. But enough of that. More on this later, once we get to Luna 1. It can be very disorienting translating for your first time. Again, this is not stepping through a gate. Your body in this reality will cease to exist, and you will reform in a new reality. It can be disorienting and, well, strange. Everyone good? On the same page? Everyone excited?
I like my body.
Yeah.
I'm
During
sure
this,
you're not alone in this, my friend.
Clover takes a quick look around the room to see if there's like visible or even semi-hidden cameras or mics or something. Still trying to figure out, like,
Make a perception check.
okay. Like, how does he know all this about us?
I'm gonna say make a perception check, and I'm gonna set the difficulty of this at 6.
Oh, okay. I don't have my sweet little pterosaur here, so I don't get that natural help. All right, I'll just roll it and see if I can roll an 18 right now.
Do it.
No, I cannot. I did
Glance
not. I should
around,
say.
you have no idea. You don't see anything that observes or records. There's nothing obvious sitting out to you. You don't know how the hell he's known, how he knows everything that he's. It's like he was standing next to y'all while you were doing your covert actions.
Ready?
He sits down and he says, join hands. No, I'm not kidding. Get any jokes you have about kumbaya or fellowship out of the way now if you want. I used to make a pastor joke, like if anybody was forced to go to church camp like I was as a kid and had asshole parents. No, doesn't land with anyone, huh? No, I guess not.
Church
You
camp?
even, yeah, never mind. You're not from a place that has any temples or churches. So, well, I guess that's not true, but anyway.
Do we have much to fear from this kumbaya?
Only if the translation does not go well. Then you have plenty to fear. Are we ready?
I go over to Joe.
Okay.
You gonna be okay back home?
Yeah, it's home. I know how to deal with home.
You're staying here?
That's
would like
just
to go home.
some of them are aiming for home.
Ah, well, good luck. Because that means you're not coming with us.
Right. So we can all still be in the same circle, and some people will like think of home, and others will think of the other place.
No, it's
Oh.
not like an exit. You either come with us or you stay here.
Oh, and do your own meditation circle later.
I wouldn't recommend trying this on your own without some guidance first. Translating by yourself for the very first time is very, well, not fun.
Well, since we so kindly let you into our group to come with us, what would you think about taking us all to one place, and then the other two can go on the connecting flight to, or not connecting, I don't know what that means. Go on the next leg of the caravan to the other place.
You want me to take you to Gravak and then to Luna 1?
I look around at the group.
I actually have a thought, if I may. There is a gate here in the estate that leads back to Gravak that does not require this meditation.
Isn't it like really heavily guarded and
Heavily guarded, and probably a death bot waiting for you on the other side, my friend.
But it's there.
Look, we're all quick and stuff, so surely we can be quick enough that we can all sit near each other and go to different places with the translation. Joe's very smart. And Cynthia can... Jesus, Mina. Sally can do all sorts of weird things I don't understand, and Zach can probably lift, like, at least a medium-sized dinosaur.
Okay.
Zach real quick to confirm.
Okay. He stops, and you see him look at his piece again, and he just says, "This is taking so much time. All right. Here's what I would recommend then. If there are some of you that wish to go back to Gravak, we should translate there first. And then from Gravak, I could perhaps, through translating to Gravak, I could teach any other of the paradoxes in the party how it is done. Once that happens, then you can take your chances and translate along after us to Luna, should you choose. Sound good?
Hop
Definitely.
plan.
Probably for the best anyway. Don't you have an animal on you from Gravak?
What about it?
It just occurred to me that if we had jumped to Luna 1 through translation, your animal would not have been materialized.
I instinctively take 2 steps right toward this man's.
He shrugs and says, I don't keep track of these things. I'm not typically one to run through inopportune gates. They're not supposed to exist as long as this one has.
Let's
Okay.
begin.
Yeah, that kind of settles it. Go
Zach
back
is just
first.
offering his hands to
Yeah.
whoever's on each side.
Oh, I'm gonna grip it. I'm gonna grab Zach's hand and grip it just super, super this endangered
Okay.
Vern
No.
pokes out of your.
please.
You do see a little witch like, oh, I'm surprised. Ow.
You guys are initiating the translation trance is literally what it is called. Typically, a translation takes 4 hours to translate. But because you do have a paradox that is initiating the translation and is trying to speed it the hell up, this is going to be easy. Plus, you are all from here. So, Gravak is a level 6 recursion, which means getting back to Gravak through translation means you have to make a recursion roll at a difficulty 6 or something happens. And there is, in fact, a translation failure table for me to roll on should things go south. So, reinitiating. So y'all have to... Okay. Okay. He is going to attempt to help each of you learn how to using this moment to translate into Gravak so that you will be able to travel as needed. So here's what he does. Each one of you is going to need to fulfill a certain role for this translation jump. So you have a paradox. Paradox is initiating the role. So what you are going to do is paradox initiation. Although one can modify the aspects of the translation, paradox are better initiators. When paradox makes a translation roll, you get one automatic retry on the roll. Okay, so that's good to know. So what do I need to roll? Initiating the character, have one of the following: an object. Nope, you're from there, so you don't have to do that. I'm so excited. We're finally rolling for translation. Knowledge of 3 specific and or y'all meet all of the qualifications. Translating to Gravak, since it's your native recursion, you don't need the standard things like a recursion key or anything to get into that reality. Y'all can just go. So when the trance ends, the character initiating the translation roll makes an intellect-based roll with a difficulty equal to the recursion's level. So easing translation, because a paradox is initiating it, it's going to drop it from a 6 down to 5. You guys are hastening the translation, however, but you can do that with help. So okay. 1 round. If vector eases. Okay, helping with the initiating. Okay, so additional characters can enter the trance and provide aid according to the rules of helping as it is described on 118. So you guys are essentially going to... So we have a Karn, which is a vector in the strange. We have a paradox. And we have a speaker. All of this is going to help with the translation.
I thought as a card I was going to be useless for this.
No. In fact, one of the cool things about translating to another reality is having a very diverse party makeup, because every single person can actually help ease the translation and cut down on how much time it takes to do it based on who is involved, because each one of you is incorporating an aspect of your paradigm into the translation into a new reality. It makes it possible, makes it easier to slip in between the well of worlds, as it were, and emerge on the other side. So what would normally take 4 hours is cut down to 10 minutes, which is cut down again because each one of you has a different version of each character type involved in this, focusing on the things that you all do. Because you're all initiating this and helping along, that is actually going to cut down translation time to 10 minutes. So you all sit here and begin to focus. And as he does, it does start like guided meditation. He says, no talking after this. Focus on your home. Focus on something that is important to you. Anything back in Gravak, have a clear image of it in your mind. Push it to the front of your minds like you want me to see it. Think of the smells, the tastes, the things you experience, the sound of mud underneath your boots, whatever it is about your home, the sound of dinosaurs roaring in the background. Those things. Focus on this. And then Cynthia, Dahlia feels a squeeze on her hand, and a quick glance shows that he is nodding to you, like he is trying to connect with you to show you how this is done. And he takes a deep breath and he closes his eyes, and following suit, everybody begins to focus. And it does indeed look like a circled meditation, like a group of people like huddled around each other holding hands. At first, it feels a little silly. And the quiet is awkward. Nobody says anything. Every now and then there's a cleared throat. After about a minute, some of you begin to feel a little bit of a rising sense of anxiety that you're sitting here doing nothing. That at any minute, and this is true, a guard could walk through the door and catch you all in the middle of what looks like a seance. Of course, everybody here knows that you guys are attempting to translate, so the implication of what might happen to all of you is up in the air. But after a few minutes, as you push through the discomfort and the silence and the awkwardness, each of you begins to feel something. It's a sensation of light, it's a lightheadedness, but it's not unpleasant. And you think you start hearing the distant sounds of the Red Jaw Wilds. Each of you begins to think you hear the sounds of Gravek as you know them, outside of the memory. And a noise. You hear this like sparking sound. In a moment, the temptation to open your eyes to see what it is you're hearing, you realize your eyes do not and cannot open. Or they are open, but you, instead of seeing the room around you, it looks dark. Bolts of energy begin to play off of your bodies, and the world around you begins to fade, as though someone is slowly drawing down the contrast more and more and more into this white, just, and it fills your vision and goes complete darkness. And each of you begins to hear this roiling sound, this, and it begins to finally become this low hum. Your eyes are closed, but somehow you can still see it. All around you, the swirling, dark, nebulous clouds of an endless universe, filled with stars and pocket realities, looking into a swirling, worm-like structure that spirals over and over and over into infinity. And everything in your being tells you you are looking directly into the strange at this moment. There is a sense of fear, of terror, much like maybe somebody who's scared of heights flying for the first time. But at the same time, there is also this sense of euphoria, of being able to see the entire universe from a bird's eye view. You're having your Dr. Arroway looking at the universe moment from Contact. You're kind of seeing the great celestial architecture of the universe for a split second, this dark energy network that forms all things around you. And in that particular moment, your first time translating, your body becomes ephemeral. You begin to see through your own selves. You're aware that each of you is there because you can feel each other's presence as though you were still holding hands, but nothing else is around you except everything. But what's more, some of the truths to the things that you've heard all begin to sink into your bones. And each of you begins to see the truth of the words of Agent Manners. Earth may be the center of the wheel, but it is no less or more real than Gravek. No less or more real, no less or more important. You begin to feel that pull, that comfort in this great reality that's sprawled out in front of you. It would be easy to get lost in the infinity of it all, except for you feel home. It's calling to you and you to it. It's not like you're falling out of the sky, but instead, in this great expanse of stars, you see a single blade of grass sprout from this cloud of nebula in front of you. Kind of angle up and then droop slightly. Little sparkle of a star that you see in front of you that would normally be quite the celestial sight to behold, of a blinking star of a distant, perhaps supernova, is in fact the glint of sunlight off of a drop of dew that falls into mud that you were all sitting on. And each of you, for what feels like the very first time in your lives, takes a deep, gasping breath as you realize that for as long as you have been in the emptiness of the strange, the infinite the cosmic way of the strange, none of you have been breathing. None of you have been existing as you do as a normal biological creature. You are born again into this world as you translate directly into Gravek. And you all find yourselves coughing and leaning over and just gasping for breath as the world around you is roiling right now in a gentle rainstorm. You are in some kind of large grassy field, and you can hear the thunderous stampede. Distant, thankfully, and not coming towards you. Because the moment you guys look up, your neck muscles kind of stretching and aching a little bit, you can see off in the distance what looks like a small group of sauropods rushing away from your location. You can see their tails as they're dipping down low and kind of keeping close to the tall grass and escaping from what they imagine is some kind of disturbance or predators. None of you are in pretty good shape right now. It's going to take about 3 minutes to acclimate, but right now you're all gasping for breath and currently at a disadvantage. The roll for everything you guys are doing is at an increased difficulty of 3. So if you try to do anything for the next 3 minutes, it's going to be really hard as your bodies are starting to like acclimate. As that sensation, that feeling is settling in, Vern, you inadvertently are whining because this is scary, unknown, and really uncomfortable. The rest of you, though, find yourselves back in Gravac. What's remarkable, too, is you are all back in Gravac with the same mud stains that you had on you when you left. Same condition your clothes were in, your weapons, everything that you were when you left this reality, your reality, it's all back. Like you had never gone. Instinctively, Joe, you look down at your arm, and indeed, the dressings from where you came from are still there. Your arm still feels okay. The wound hasn't reverted. That has been fine. And you see, as you're all catching your breath, he stands up, Orega, and stretches his back and goes, "Oh, if you need to throw up, it's normal, it's natural. You get used to it. Everyone made it? Everyone okay? I need you to do me a favor, and I'm going to ask this specifically. I'm going to ask this from Dahlia. If you would roll 2d10.
Aha! 1 second.
And count this as a roll from 1 to 100. And tell me what you roll.
I got a 0, 0, and a 9.
So you rolled a 9. Okay. You see something alarming for a split second. As he's stretching his back, you see him go fade for a second. Like his body begins to lose consistency. And the matter begins to break down. And he seizes up for a second and then drops down to one knee and reconstitutes in front of you. And he's...
Are you okay?
I was too much translation in too short of time. Very, very hard on the body. It's why they asked you to stay here for 24 hours. Stay at the estate for 24 hours. Translating too often can be very, very dangerous. I need a moment. Is everyone else okay? And you all feel a little sick to your stomachs, and your skin has that disassociative feeling of not feeling like your skin, but that's slowly starting to fade away. But it is not fun. There's no other way to describe it. You feel disassociated from the body that you're looking at for a moment. It starts to slowly acclimate. You begin to feel the temperature. You begin to feel the sensations, and the clothes that you're wearing feels okay. Yeah, those are mine. That's okay. That's mine.
I'm holding Vern real close, just petting, trying to help Vern be a little more comfy.
Yeah, there's to give you some feedback here, Eliza. Vern is in that state where you are inadvertently making really sad, pathetic noises because that was not fun at all. At all.
I know, baby. I know. You're home now, though. You're okay. You're okay. You're home. You're gonna smell all your favorite Cretaceous smells and eat all your favorite Cretaceous foods, and you're gonna be okay now. I know.
Orega says, "Do not ever take that one, points at Vern, anywhere into the strange without an opposite gate. They will not materialize on the other side. Only quickened and those with the spark can materialize outside of your recursion. Do you understand? And those with the spark will not last. They have to return to their recursions, or they will break apart.
Yeah, okay. Recursion-y translate stuff. You're okay, baby. You're okay.
I'm going to need at least a day before I can take you to Luna 1.
Yeah, that tracks. I think I could use a day of rest too, actually, after that.
Where are we?
That's exactly what I was about to ask.
Yeah, where did we land?
In character and out of character.
Translate.
Indeed. Who would like to roll for that? It's a
I will.
I'm not even gonna try. There's no
survival
chance.
check.
Oh,
Okay.
that's a new skill for me. Okay.
May I use geography? I'm trained.
Yes, you may.
Where's my sheet? Where's she go? Oh, okay.
If you would like to make a geography roll, then I would say I would say the difficulty here, considering you're out in the middle of the fields, the difficulty here is I was going to say I would start it at 4, but for Ozzy, the difficulty is going to be 2.
Okay. I have.
You wanna roll 2? Is that Dahlia? What's
Yeah.
up?
Yeah. Well, Elisa, go first, and then I'll explain my idea.
Okay. Survival.
Survival works too. If you have geography, if you have any kind of familiarity that you think would trigger here, but survival is a good way of just kind of getting your bearings as to what kind of landscape you're in, and then try to make some kind of call off of that.
Yeah. I have pathfinding.
That would definitely. Oh yeah, as a former butterfly, that would definitely come in handy.
Okay. Cool. I'll. Can I use both of those, survival and pathfinding?
You could use one of those.
Okay, I'll use one then.
Okay.
So I'm down to 3.
You are down to down to 3.
Okay. Haha, I got a 5.
Okay, what's up?
I was just gonna. Can I ask Paco?
Oh wait, I failed. Yeah. Sorry.
My drone, like I figure it would have like a GPS type dealio on it.
You can try, but what you will notice is as you pull your drone out, is it immediately goes and just perfectly operational, immediately folds out. That metal skin blends out into those pterosaur-like wings, and it goes, and its little laser eyes stare up at you.
You got it working.
That I did. All it took was shunting myself from one reality to the other. Simple. I'm going to see if there's a map on this thing.
Okay. There is no real satellite technology here, so you're not able to
Gotcha.
pinpoint specifically where you are. However, you can send this drone up overhead to get a bird's eye view, as it were,
Yeah, then
of where you are.
Yeah, I'll just do it.
In which case, I would let you ease the roll of this by 2.
Okay.
So you will be rolling on the same difficulty as Ozzy.
All right, that's a 19.
Okay.
Also
And
from
then-
Aussie.
Dahlia, what was
Yes.
that? What about Ozzy?
Also rolled a 19.
Okay.
incidentally.
Hey, 19 buddies.
Dahlia, what did you want to do?
I wanted to use premonition since I can learn one random fact about
Yeah.
a location.
Yeah, okay. Oh, you know what, Dahlia, this would also be an easy roll for you, but go ahead and use premonition because it'll just click. You will come into it will occur to you at the same moment that it occurs to Ozzy. And indeed, Joe, you might start getting a sense as well, but the two of you begin to realize at that same moment as you make eye contact, while the former butterfly is looking around and the drone is activating, essentially the party begins to realize slowly but surely, one way or the other, making the connections. You guys are probably about 3 or 4 kilometers north of the Chalk Road, right north of a city called Kaleno. It occurs to you exactly where you are, because as Ozzy looks around and makes eye contact with Joe, And then again with Dahlia, this landscape looks familiar to y'all in particular because this is the route you chose when you fled. You traveled north along the Chalk Road until you split up and went headed straight into the Red Jaw Wilds heading towards Silvercreek. You are approximately 300 to 400 kilometers south of Silvercreek. Roughly 2.5 weeks of travel, give or take, with the Red Jaw Wilds.
Look familiar?
Weren't we supposed to be north? The sauropods had fur. This isn't north. Did it go wrong, El Torrega?
He says, I think something went wrong.
Is this because when you said think of home, I took that literally?
Looks at you and says, it's possible. I don't know.
Sorry.
I was leading the meditation, so it's not an exact science. But it could have something to do with the fact that we were translating without permission out of the estate, which has safeguards in place, making that a very difficult thing to do.
Well, mission accomplished. We got back home.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we need to find a place to rest up. And my vote is probably to go back to Coleno.
Clover,
Cool. Enjoy that.
Yeah, Clover
fun.
looks at Joe and Ozzy. So that seems like a no from
Do you want to stay out here? With what supplies are we staying out here with?
Let me just go in my bag.
You reach into your bag and you see a couple of the rations that you had stashed in there.
I've got 50 feet of rope, 2 days worth of rations, 3 spikes, a hammer, set of warm clothes, boots, and 3 torches. No, actually 2 torches.
I have a suggestion. It's not the best, but it's the best we can do, perhaps. But we could attempt to take a ferry through the Tortix Run, travel by water. It would cut at least a week off of our journey if you were all headed back.
I mean,
And
we're
there's the
on
other
the run this
option.
time.
The other option is, of course, give me a day, and we go to Luna 1 and try our hand at maybe translating back to Gravac once again. Maybe this time without the interference of the estate, driving us 2 weeks off course. Best I can do, I'm afraid. Also, you notice his prison clothes have completely vanished. He is wearing what looks like butterfly garb. You even see a tattoo has emerged on his arm. Like he looks like he is completely who he was when he left.
Staring daggers at him.
Same energy.
Okay, we all can't just stand here, though. We all know what happens when we just stand in the middle of the wild.
Follow.
So if you don't like my idea, then somebody come up with something.
Where are we in terms of? I already failed my perception roll. Never mind. But I mean, I would know. Like, are we in a swamp? Are we in a forest? Like, what?
Not only that, but you're getting real-time feedback from a drone that's flying overhead.
That's right.
Also, if you would please, Noir.
Oh yeah, got to roll to see if
roll a
completed.
d20.
Okay.
That's a 16.
You're fine.
Okay.
Yep. real-time feedback, you guys are probably about with no longer needing to make an approximation. The drone can actually see Kaleno City from its height. And also see some pterosaurs that are making their way north right now. Some of the activity in the sky. Kaleno is approximately 12 kilometers south of you guys right now. So y'all are just north of Kaleno.
Question.
What's up?
So when we had set up backstory and stuff, this was more for flavor, but maybe could be useful now. Joe's family acquired Atticus because Atticus belonged to her uncle, and her uncle passed away, and Atticus couldn't live in the triangle with them because he's too big and they don't let dinosaurs come in the triangle. So they still had her uncle's house, which was on the outskirts of Kaleno. Could we instantiate that as a thing that exists still, or
Absolutely,
do you want me to keep that
yes.
as flavor? Yeah.
Nope, you can absolutely do it. Yes.
Is that an XP spend or?
So I would call it an XP spend if you wanted it to be conveniently located. If you wanted it to be not far from where you are now, in which case we can bake it into the story that's part of the reason why you appeared here when you were thinking of home. But by and large, I will confirm to you that it was a role and it was the estate, the defenses of the estate interfering with the translation. So if you want, yes, you could say, if you're willing to make an XP spend, you guys can put yourselves pretty close by to the homestead that was north of Kaleno.
Would y'all want that? I'm happy to spend for that.
I'm sure you are, but your money's no good here. Eric, you have an XP.
Okay.
Moving on.
Oh,
All right.
I was gonna say, if you don't spend for that, I was gonna spend for a dumb thing that would have been bad for us.
Please
Well, I love
also
that
spend
too.
for dumb things in
Yeah.
future.
Okay. So that's going to be so yeah, that's 1 XP. It's basically a player intrusion. It's going to let you make a thing true with GM approval. I'm going to say yes. So yeah, it pops into your head, Joe. The reason why this place is so familiar is you remember running through these grasslands just north of the chalk road when you were small. It is worth noting too that house has been abandoned for the past close to 3.5 weeks now since you departed and headed to Silvercreek. So you don't know what you might find walking up on the old homestead, but it should be there.
I think since Sam made a spend, I think Ozzy's probably more likely to realize how close we are to it than Joe would be. So if
well, I mean, Ozzy is also in a state of absolute rage that they are containing to the best of their ability.
This is true.
I'm agitated, but I'm also looking for a plan because I don't want to put my friend on a wanted poster on a ferry. And as Dahlia very rightly points out, you don't like my plan, you come up with your own. And since I am agitated about that plan, I have to come up with my own. Therefore, this is the plan I come up with. Especially since I made 19 on the geography check. That seems like very relevant social geography. So,
Yes.
Joe, I'm bad at things, all sorts of things, but I think doesn't that remember when we were 8 and we went on the really, 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 really long hide and seek game, and then we got lost for like 3 hours, and then we got back, and then our moms were screaming at us, and it was a whole time, remember?
Yes. The first time or the second time?
Wait, I thought that was when we were 9. Point being, wasn't the first time near here? This looks like it's not that far from your uncle's house.
Joe does like a turns around in place, like taking multiple footsteps to do it, and is like,
remember we waited and there was like a big tree and it fell over, and that looks like where it would have fallen over, right?
Which direction is Kaleno?
Kalenos. Oh, are you asking
In game.
Okay, all right. Well done.
Look where I'm pointing.
Okay. Oh, that way. Okay. Yeah, okay, yes. She's definitely, like, believes you, I think is not fully grasping, the location, but she like, I think she's trying to orient herself with, like, knowing that Kleno's that way, and that, like, if we're near Uncle Eddie's house, she thinks she can maybe get us there.
Maybe this will help. And Zach will throw you the controller, which also functions as the viewer for the drone.
Oh, okay. This is very cool. Oh, this is awesome. Wait, not the point. Okay. Yeah, she's gonna see if she can use Paka to make a map. Like, she would know a map on how to get to Uncle Eddie's house. So she's gonna turn this into a map for herself.
Begins to give you immediate feedback as the drone begins to fly. You get an extraordinary view of the landscape, and in the distance you can see the great bone walls of Kaleno City, as well as caravans of dinosaurs and traders coming and going out of the gates. You can see the great long necks of dinosaurs as they're leading their caravans in, carrying great supplies all up and down the chalk road. It does cause just slightest twinge of homesickness as you see the familiar sights. The city of Kaleno, of course, the largest settlement here in all of Gravac. You can also see the great, beautiful, glittering rivers of the Tortix Run, which travels just along the banks of Kaleno City, making it a port town. Even in this light rain and the gray haze, you can see that the sun has broken through and is casting some of its glow. It's a beautiful sight. The gray haze is making it a little difficult for the drone to see. However, this is an artifact from the age of Sati, when it was at its height of technology. It cuts through the gray haze and curtains of rain with ease. And the range on this thing is also pretty impressive. It can see up to a couple of kilometers away.
Wow.
And after a few moments, you manage to zoom in on what you think might be the homestead, and sure enough, you see it. It's from a distance, and you don't get detail, but you can get a direction. You can get a
That's
sense.
all she needed. Yeah.
It looks like it's a bit overgrown,
Mm-hmm.
but the compound itself and the fence around it looks like it's intact. Doesn't look like any.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. This way. You're right. Here it is. And she kind of will show Ozzy.
I want that in writing.
I tell you, you're right all the time as they're walking away.
All right.
What?
So is the goal then to soldier on towards the homestead?
Yep.
Yeah, we're gonna hole up in there for now while we
Okay.
come up with a plan.
So I'm gonna ask each of you to make a survival check, because y'all are out in the wilds. Now, the good news is you are not far from the chalk road, and enough traffic comes through here that a lot of the most dangerous wildlife knows the dinosaurs of Gravac, and specifically Laramidia, which is the continent that you are all on, have actually learned that while in the beginning, perhaps it may have seemed like easy prey trying to grab a dinosaur caravan along the chalk road, mostly even the most powerful predators have learned that ain't so, and that the people of Kaleno City are more than capable of defending their dinos. So, survival. The challenge rating for the survival, the difficulty is going to be 2. It's a standard. So you just need a 6 or better. 4, any skills or anything else like that.
13.
13. Okay, you're good to go.
Nice.
You rolled a nat 1.
Ooh.
Excellent. That is going to be a GM intrusion.
Nope.
Love it.
I'm using my survival skill. Knock that down to a difficulty 1.
Is this an intellect?
It is, yes.
Test? Okay, I have a free level of effort, so I'll knock it down by 1.
Yoink. Okay, cool. So
I rolled a 17.
did you roll a nat 1? You rolled a
The most boring failure. I needed a 3. I got a 2. I couldn't even get a 1.
Excellent.
I would like to mention
You failed at
that
failing.
Zach does have his weapon in hand, his bow and arrow,
Okay.
just in case.
Okay. I will make storyteller note of that. How did you do, Ozzy?
I rolled an 18.
And what did you roll? Let's see. Okay, so you rolled an 18 and Zach got a
13.
13. And then what did Clover get?
17.
Okay, so specifically because of Clover and because of Ozzy, y'all are going to get the GM intrusion is going to happen, but y'all are not going to be completely caught off guard. I'm going to allow you to spot what's coming. There's going to be now a trial to pass as you were all approaching the homestead. The familiarity of it all, it's coming back to you. And Ozzy, this also feels a little bit like of a homecoming as well. You remember seeing this place, and I'm guessing if I remember correctly, you and Joe have known each other for quite a while. Yes.
Yeah, hence the 8-year-old hide and seek that went horribly wrong.
Right.
Shockingly, this is not the first time I have tempted Joe into horrible ideas and dragged her down with me. Yes.
Right. So y'all are trudging through this wet grass towards the homestead. The homestead, first of all, looks like a large one-story compound with a very, very large back area for what probably accommodated, you have to imagine, a sizable triceratops and feeding areas back there as well. Ozzy, you, Zach, and Clover catch the glint of something moving inside the home. The windows of this are these folded metal sheets that are like security blinds, and currently, not how you left them, they are folded open.
Down.
Yeah.
You all drop down into the grass.
What do you mean drop down? What? Like I don't.
Both of them get, Joe and Dahlia both get grabbed.
Yeah, pull you both down.
What?
That one, everybody.
The one and
Sure
two
enough.
just standing there like, huh?
The noise you make draws something out of the grass not far from you guys on the outside of the house. Stiffening up and leaning up, you see rising to its full height something. Zach, you've heard of this before. You've heard of this because they don't get as far as Silvercreek, but they do sometimes make an appearance in the Red Jaw Wilds. To some of you, there are things wandering out in the wilds of Gravak that are things to always look out for. Raptors, for one of the deadliest things you can run into because they travel in packs, and they're incredibly intelligent, and they're not easily intimidated. You have all learned how to navigate the wildlife of Gravak, but boogeymen have popped up from time to time, from children's stories to warnings from people who range out in the Red Jaw Wilds and beyond. And each of them told scary stories of people who, using technology, changed themselves to be more like the dinosaurs that wandered the wilds. And it comes to your lips the moment you see it, Clover. They are known as the silverbacks. Even the butterflies know to keep well clear of them. They are essentially humans who have kind of decided to become reavers and have grafted technology to their bodies specifically to alter themselves into a more dinosaur-like form. They revere dinosaurs to the point where they attempt to become them, wearing their bones, stabbing feathers into their skin, tattooing themselves up to make it look as possible. The one you see right now looks like a cybernetic dinosaur with a skull on its head. But you can see that it's clearly a human. These long metal claws stretch outwards in the fingertips. You can see a slight greenish glow around its hips, where its cybernetics had been used to enhance the power of its legs and to give it that articulated joint so that it looks and walks like a raptor. Even has what looks like a cybernetic spine attached to the outside of its back, running down the length of its body and forming into a long metal tail that sways back and forth. Large teeth that have been grafted and created to fit onto its mouth are sticking out of this silverback's face. Glances up as it kind of arches up. You see the silverback lean up and look around. The movements are eerily like watching a raptor, imitating it perfectly. Just head darting left and right for a second as it starts to, the silverback they start to sniff the air. I'm going to post a picture.
Has Joe ever seen someone like this before? She
No.
worked in cybernetics.
Silverbacks are very rare, and
Okay.
they are very dangerous. They are, again, sort of the boogeymen.
Oh, wow.
They are sort of the boogeymen of Gravek.
Would I have learned anything like just being cybernetics biorobotics kind of a specialty? Like, would we have had any like extra type of information on this, or are they just kind of an enigma?
Let's make a roll for that.
Okay.
Because maybe, because you and Ozzy both spent time inside of a SETI laboratory. It's entirely possible that at one point you came across information about this. So I would say make an intellect roll. Anybody can make this roll. If you want to make an intellect roll and tell me how you are trying to find out if your character maybe has heard something, maybe if they know something. So yeah, the difficulty of this is going to be 6.
Cool.
Silverbacks are very rare.
Okay.
And they are, as I said, boogeymen. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm specialized in biorobotics and cybernetics. Does that come into play here?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes, I would say so. Because you learned that at the SATI Institute.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then I have a free level effort. I'm going to spend 1. That puts me down to 2.
Okay.
I'll roll on this as well.
Okay. Do it.
Would me being a butterfly and or survival play into this?
Not really. No.
Okay. Then I'll still roll. I'll spend a level of effort.
Okay. Now you're talking.
And
so 6 drops to 5.
6 drops to 5. I will spend another level of effort. Question: when we have the 2 efforts, does that mean the first one's free and the second one we spend for, or we spend they're both free?
If you have an edge.
If you have enough edge.
All right, edge is the only thing that makes it free.
Correct.
Yeah. Eats it. Okay.
Edge discounts it.
So okay, then I'll spend for 1 more level down with
You can spend because I believe you are tier 2 now, so you can you can spend up to 2 levels of effort now. The first level costs 3 points, and the second level costs 2 points minus your edge.
Eats into that.
Right. Sorry.
The total cost, not per spend.
No, that's okay.
Yeah.
Don't sweat it.
So the total cost is what? 2 points?
What's your edge?
My intellect edge is 2.
Okay, so then it'll cost you 1 point for the first level of spend of effort, and then it'll cost you an additional 2 points. So 3 total from your intellect pool.
Okay. Spent.
Okay.
13.
All right. So 13.
19.
19 will do it.
I think the 13
Wait,
does
13 will do it because you spent 2.
Yeah.
So yeah, you'll do it as well. Anybody else roll for that?
Not successfully, no.
Okay, cool.
Not at all. Zach is just knocking the arrow and setting.
Yeah, Zach, whatever it is, that ain't friendly.
Doesn't care. Yeah.
They are not friendly, whoever they are. Okay, so specifically, what kind of information were you attempting to get, Joe?
I think I more was just like curious if she would have seen them before, just
You've
as
never
like
seen them at your homestead before. No.
Yeah.
To see them this close to Kaleno City is shocking.
Yeah, that's like the intel on like how wild of an encounter is this? Like this is not normal. This is not a thing. Can I tell like would I have any inclination of, because they don't come this close, they don't do this, any inclination of why? Like for what reason?
No.
Are they looking for supplies? Like I just wouldn't know.
What you would know about the Silverbacks is, above all things, they choose to live as though they were predatory creatures of the Cretaceous era. They don't have a malicious agenda necessarily. Their primary motives seem to be survival and hunger.
Okay.
So
then she would maybe come to the conclusion to expect them to exist as a wild animal, like as a dinosaur? Why would a dinosaur be in the front yard? Kind of a thought. That would just
Possibly
be her, from what she knows, at least.
And Clover also succeeded, so we get to find out how Clover's putting this together.
Yeah, yeah.
So I rolled because I would love to have had an experience firsthand with one of these one time in my past.
Okay. What I can tell you, Clover, is the same thing. Silverbacks by nature are not. They truly attempt to adapt themselves into living a predatorial lifestyle. Silverbacks have even gone so far as to actually successfully acclimate themselves into packs of raptors.
Wow.
By inheriting body language and an empathy and hunting alongside them, or even keeping up with them at full running paces using their cybernetics. They are very dangerous, highly intelligent, but they are not inherently evil.
Mm-hmm.
They don't simply seek out to kill for the funs of it any more than a raptor does. They truly try to adapt that lifestyle. They are very dangerous, and they are often what you would probably know too is they are often misunderstood because of their natures, because of the way they present, and because of how they behave, and because of their use of cybernetics. People are terrified of them.
Yeah, I think I have a more realistic question for Joe as opposed to like motive. That's not something she would care about. How do they get their cybernetics? Like, do they go to someone and pay to have it done, or are they like they do it to themselves, or we don't know?
Don't know.
Okay.
Excellent. Okay, cool. That's okay. Cool.
Sati has acknowledged that they silverbacks are real, and that they are out there, and they don't fully understand exactly how it is that they're achieving what they've achieved.
Sick.
But silverbacks have also not really been a problem for the Chalk Road or Kaleno City. They don't openly just attack people. So
They found a really good Ripper doc.
Oh,
sorry.
So
oh wait.
what's stopping us from going to talk to them?
I have a real quick question before we move on. And it actually was about talking, funny enough.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to know if Clover would know anything about their relationship to language, like if in the past she or someone in the butterflies tried to speak to them. Did they speak back? Did they grunt? Have they been known to ever, in her experience, speak?
Spend an XP, I'll give that to you.
I will spend an XP.
Okay. So no matter how much you try to acclimate, they are human. They are human, and they have adapted to this new lifestyle, and this identity is who they are. They are very much living and behaving and actually being predatorial animals here in the Cretaceous period. Interacting with them, the most successful interactions that anybody has had with them, according to, is by behaving the way one might if they were encountering somebody who was very much acclimated to that sort of lifestyle. So it is treat them like you would treat a raptor, because they will treat you like prey.
Okay. Thank you.
It is possible to interact. Yes. 100%.
Okay.
So I go back to saying, so why are we talking to them?
They're basically dinosaurs.
Basically dinosaurs.
Everything they do, everything they eat, they're not really people the way that we're people, so we can't really treat them like people, or we'll get scratched real bad, to say the least. So that's why we can't walk up to them and talk to them.
Bruno all the time.
Bruno's not a raptor. That's a raptor over there. But yeah, we need to figure out a plan, because that's where we're going. And it seems like that thing has taken up residence. And we don't know if there's other ones or other raptors. I mean, that's a raptor, but you know what I mean. Raptors of any kind.
Can we see what they're like doing? Does it look like they're snooping, or does it look like they're just like existing in that space?
From what it looks like, one of them is searching. Now, I'm going to go ahead and give you a little bit of... I'm going to give you a little clue here. all the information I have given you up to this point are things you have been told by other people.
Right.
So keep that in mind.
Mm-hmm.
Because what you see is someone cybernetically enhanced to be a raptor, and the person that's in the house who's also cybernetically enhanced to be a raptor is walking around and using their limbs to look through things inside your house, which does not coincide with a lot of the things that you've been told about them. So there is that piece of it. If you're going to spend an XP, I'll give you this much, that all of your information is what you have heard about them.
If no one's gonna say anything to Zach, I'd like to take that shot now.
Oh,
Yeah, no.
yeah, no. Yeah, no.
Please hold.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Well, just to respond to Clover, then. Look, I don't know. I just get feeling a certain sort of way about human people being thought of not as a people. So, at the risk of maybe getting raptor scratched, I am inclined to try Dahlia's idea about the whole talking to him thing.
I mean, at the very least, I'd like to get their attention, see what they're doing in the house.
I think Dahlia already kind of starts wandering over.
What are
So to do that, everyone is going to see you stand and begin to move over.
Yep.
All right.
That's great because I want to use enthrall.
Okay. So you stand at just as Ozzy finishes saying their piece. Dahlia, something about that just clicks of like, yeah, all right. And just get up and you begin to immediately head over there. For those of you who are behaving off of the information you've been given, your survival instinct kind of triggers for a second where you're just like, oh boy, I hope this goes okay.
Yeah, Clover.
No, I think Joe stands up and goes with Dahlia.
Okay. Ozzy, what are you doing?
Okay.
Followed up by Zach going,
I mean, Dahlia already stood up. Joe's just like, yeah, okay.
Okay, but if I can add some flavor and use context, understanding what everybody was saying about the silverbacks. Dahlia doesn't just walk, but she starts to mimic what she thinks a raptor like would walk like, and start kind of moving like just very like trying to mimic what the raptor person is kind of doing too. So kind of countering with them.
Okay.
Hey, look, I'm a dancer in real life. I would totally do
yeah,
this.
you would totally do this. You were spotted immediately. Did you have something you wanted to say, Ozzy? Anything you wanted to do?
No, it's fine.
Okay. You're spotted immediately. The silverback straightens up, and they take sight of the fact that there's multiple of you. And as they do this, they open their mouth and emit what sounds like a symphonic, altered digital sounding, almost like screech. It sounds very much like a raptor's like cooing purr, followed by a quick like chirp out loud. It does not sound like a normal human vocal cord would be capable of doing it. And it's actually eerily beautiful as you hear it, as this silverback makes the noise. As they make the noise, you do see the one that was in the window lingering. They turn and immediately move over to the window and look out at. What's alarming are the other two that rise up from the grass that were flanking it, and revealing that there is at least 4 of them. As you all approach, they all immediately begin to spread slowly out. What's remarkable to you, Zach, they behave exactly like a pack of raptors do. You watch them as 2 of them begin to slowly, calmly, as to not raise alarm, moving a little bit to your flank, but not so much that it would cause a herd to run and panic. Instead, they keep their distance. But if they are like raptors, they can close that distance fast. They don't need to be to your left and right when they do it. It's giving you the strangest vibes right now, Zach, that you are in fact probably dealing with people who have acclimated the most powerful predatorial instincts of a raptor with human intelligence. This could be really dangerous if it goes south fast. The one in the window at the same moment, in a very human looking way, vaults over the windowsill and just crouches down. You see those great talons, cybernetic attachments to the feet as they rise up and pace across the front porch. What would you like to do?
I would like
So
to try.
I'm using enthrall on that first one.
Okay.
So I'm gonna hold the attention of the one that I initially was.
Definitely got their attention. They are staring at you.
So I have to keep talking. So I'm just gonna, hi, greetings.
The
I'm
moment you
Dahlia.
get hi greetings, you noticed now that you're close enough to see Dahlia, their eyes are also looks like modified. You see beautiful green emerald eyes that have a perfectly black slit, reptilian slit eye just going straight down the middle. It looks like a beautiful snake's eye as they approach you slowly and
That's
gaze
really
at you.
intense.
I think Joe is fascinated by how much they've modified themselves. Like, she's done like an arm, someone's like helped out with an eye before. Like, this is nothing she's ever seen before. She's fixated on the person who's in the house.
Okay. They're on the front porch now.
Yeah. How close are we to that, or are we pretty far away from the house?
They're I would say they're probably about 50 feet away from you.
Okay.
Whereas the one that Dahlia is talking to is more like 15 feet away.
Oh, okay. I think looking at the person who's farthest away, like who's on the porch, I think while Dahlia's talking, I think Joe is just like staring and not like ogling or distressed at all, but just like trying to like see them, and just says, "Do you need help?" Like thinking they were in the house. What are they looking for? And that's just what she's going to ask them.
By the way, this entire time, Orega has been laying on his belly with his hands over his head.
Yeah.
And is not saying or doing. He's completely just letting y'all handle this as he's just going, oh, like staying low.
I know cybernetics, and if there's something that you need help with, if that's why you're here, very good.
If you have any social skills or anything that would help you here, anything that would help speaking or connecting with people, that's what you're going to need right now to make contact with them. Otherwise,
could she drop some cybernetic terms in this? Like if something, like if she was like, because right now that's the only thing she can think of to connect with these people. If she could use like, if the like techno babble is XYZ, I have tools in the back room that could help with whatever. Like, could I use that as a way to connect? Could I use my cybernetics specialization to knock the difficulty down?
Not really, no.
Okay, that's okay. Then I'll spend to roll. Yeah, that's fine. What is my difficulty?
I'm gonna say the difficulty of this is 4.
Cool. I'm gonna knock it down 2.
Okay.
I have that. And I will roll on that. 13.
Okay. So one is completely wrapped with Dahlia and is standing kind of like straightened up a little bit and is listening to Dahlia speak and craning their head a little bit to the right, trying to make sense of what Dahlia is doing. The other one also gazes directly at you, Joe, and you see a little bit of wincing on their face as they take a step closer. As they step closer, you see they have this, it looks like they've used dinosaur skins that are stretched up across their upper torso. The artistry and craftsmanship of which they have attached to their bodies is actually quite beautiful and a little mesmerizing, the way they've incorporated everything in. The cybernetics blend seamlessly to the point where you're starting to get a feeling that there might be some genetic manipulation also happening around, judging from what you're seeing on their skin. The body language and the response you get does not look hostile. At least to you, Zach, you don't see raptors that are sizing up possible prey. Instead, you see raptors that are kind of not raptors at all. These are humans that are sizing you all up and trying to determine whether or not you are coming to take their lunch money. You can kind of get the impression that they are scoping you out now. The one on the porch, you see now looks like probably their leader, judging by her size. She looks like she stands close to about 7 feet from the articulation of the cybernetic legs. And she, curiously enough, behaves a little more human than the rest of them, because as she is listening to you talk, she leans over and gently just grabs the front support pole of the estate and leans against it and listens to all of you.
Jo moves slowly, but she's gonna pull her tech kit out of her side like satchel and like open it and like hold the tools to just like I don't have any weapons. I just have tools.
Okay. They stare at the tools. Again, a little confused.
I'd like to try something if I could.
What would you like to try?
I've been observing their behavior for a while now.
Uh-huh.
And I have an ability where if I monitor the behavior of dinosaurs for a while, it's called Kinesic.
No joke. These people have learned to incorporate into their social structure so much of how there is a behavioral pattern that you could use that to your advantage here.
Okay, so if I spend one round reading the body language of nearby dinosaurs, I gain an asset on interacting with them for 10 minutes.
Okay, so the way this is going to work is they're still human.
Yeah.
They're not dinosaurs, but what you can do is display an understanding of what they cherish.
Okay.
So what I will do is I will allow through that lens, showing that you too also cherish and understand the wildlife around here as they do. You can use that to your advantage here and try to communicate with them. What would you like to do?
I'm trying to communicate that we need shelter. This is the shelter we've chosen.
Okay. Anybody else want to do anything before this proceeds?
No, but you all would notice that Clover went from just like this disbelief and like, oh God, what's going to happen, to kind of relaxing into a cross-armed pose and just intently watching. And it's like even more intense than usual. If you look over at Clover, she's just like staring at what's happening, staring at these people.
Okay. What were you going to say, Ozzy?
Oh, has Zach communicated any of that? Like, what do I see of what Zach's doing? Because I know what people look like. What do I see of?
Zach has put away the arrow and he's put the bow. He strapped the bow to his back. He did reach for the solar chainsaw and he's slowly walking, hands open. And like they're using synthetic voices to represent their roar. He's using the roar of the chainsaw for his.
Okay.
Okay, so like we have two people kind of approaching them as human, like appealing to the human nature. Clover is sort of studying, figuring out where the balance falls, and Zach a little more appealing to their aspirational dinosaur.
Yeah.
Then Ozzy will lean into what Zach is doing right now. I will use spin identity.
Ooh. Okay, what does this do?
You convince all intelligent creatures who can see, hear, and understand you that you are someone or something other than who you actually are. You don't impersonate someone known to them, but you convince them that you're someone they do not know, belonging to a certain category of people, like we're from the government, or I'm just a simple farmer from the next town over. Silverback.
Is this an ability from the strange, or is this an ability from that you get from?
This is a speaker ability.
Oh, okay. Okay, so how does that manifest? What do you do? Do you just assume the body posture? Do you basically, as Sam acts out Bruno, now Ozzy acts out a silverback?
Well, so the thing is, one of the expensive items, that Ozzy has through the Predation is a disguise kit. So
Okay.
not like a disguise kit like Dungeons and Dragons style, but a sati disguise kit. So while I've been hanging back and observing, since they say a disguise isn't necessary, but a good disguise will almost certainly be an asset. So perhaps maybe a little bit of simulated raptor feather or a similar cybernetic to what I see on them.
Okay. Make me this is going to be a social check. So then make the roll real quick.
Mhm.
And the difficulty is going to be 4. It's going to be immediately eased down to 3.
Mm-hmm. All right. I will take it for that. Let's see. We'll count this as a deception, yes?
Yes.
Cool.
And this is
All right.
gnarly. This is a game-changing encounter ability. Go ahead. So that's going to drop it down to 6. You need a 6 or better.
So, specialized in oh, never mind. Sorry, I thought this said deception. Never mind.
Yeah, positive social. It's technically a positive social interaction. It's kind of on that bubble. GM's discretion.
Yeah.
In which case, I'm specialized in my own right on that.
It specifically states in their profile. So I'm going off of the rules as written. So then right now the difficulty for you is 2.
Yeah. All right. So
Vern pops their head out of your pocket, sniffs around very inquisitively, looking very adorable, particularly adorable.
Comedically timed moment because Vern would definitely be a morsel to these
Vern's like, friends? Friends?
And I'll play into that by almost seeming to track Vern the way that a raptor probably would interact with Vern.
Okay.
To help to sell this whole thing.
Okay.
Vern
Go ahead and
so between that, deception, disguise kit,
so 1.
Yeah.
3 or better.
6. I'll do it.
Ooh. Okay. The one on the porch stiffens up for a moment and she leaps off the porch. The leap itself is beyond typical human capacity. It's a good 6 feet standing leap right off the porch and onto the ground. And with 2 long strides in a moment that almost causes Zach instinctively to reach for that weapon, she squares right up to Ozzy, just and leans down and puts her head on one side of your head and then on the other side of her head. And then she throws her head back and goes and just makes this purring sound and then leans back down at you. The other silverbacks do the exact same thing, except the one that Cynthia's character, Dahlia, is totally enraptured, just staring as Dahlia continues to carry on. Yeah, they throw their heads back and make a cooing sound.
So I'll coo with them for a little bit. I'd love to parlay this into impart ideal.
Okay. What is
the
this
other ability I have after interacting with a creature for 1 minute who can hear and understand you?
Okay.
You can attempt to temporarily impart an ideal to it that you could not otherwise convince them to adopt. Ideals different than a specific suggestion or command. Ideals an overarching value such as all life is sacred, or children should be seen or not heard. For instance, we are all one pack.
Okay.
The ideal lasts for as long as befits the situation, but usually at least a few hours. Ideal is jeopardized if someone friendly to the creature spends a minute or more bringing back to his senses. So this is single targeted, but at the leader. We are all one pack.
She paces around you. You coo back, and you see the pack of them react differently suddenly. And it feels like the tension bleeds away as she watches your body language. She watches your eye movements. And all of you watch after a few moments as she leans in and simply gently places the side of her face against the side of your face. A move that you've seen raptors do to other members of their pack when they are being affectionate. She leans in. You can feel the cold steel of the cybernetics on the side of her face mixed with the warmth, the heat of her skin as she presses against you. And Ozzy, you also feel the scales that have grown around her ears as she presses against you for a moment. And then leans away. And either with the indifference of somebody who's known you all their life and just trusts you to do what you do, or the fact that maybe she's over it, but she begins to calmly just walk in a different direction. The other silverbacks follow in suit, as you see, except for the one that Dahlia is still talking to, because that one is still just utterly just enthralled as Dahlia is just carrying on and on and on. The other silverbacks begin to mill about now. Each one of you feel this acutely as well, Zach. You guys could crash here for the night without a problem. You are part of their pack as far as they're concerned.
I put my weapon
Not only
away.
do you have a place to crash, but boy, oh boy, do you have bodyguards right now. That's a good stopping point for our break. So when we come back in 10 minutes,
Let's go.
when we come back in 10 minutes, y'all have made an entire, thanks to your speaker in the party, y'all have made friends with an entire pack of silverbacks, and you now have a safe space to translate to Luna 1. Plus, you've got a pack of silverbacks that'll help you if you plan on traveling here in Grevek. So we'll be back in 10 minutes. Don't go anywhere.
Now, a quick message during the break. To help us continue producing shows like this, consider supporting Alt Haven on Ko-Fi. Your contributions keep the Haven alive. And if you're not already part of our vibrant community, join us on Discord. It's the best way to stay updated on upcoming shows and events.
They'll probably find Sam's body somewhere. Oh, hey, welcome back, everybody. So we're going to jump right back into Legacy of Silvercreek. Let's go ahead and pick up where we left off. So right now, you are all headed into the homestead. And you're all headed into the homestead. And as soon as you all step inside, you guys can see that your place, as you left it, Joe, looks utterly demolished. Like nature has had its way with Homestead. Looks like what you get just from seeing this state of things in here is that security blind has probably been forced open for a while, and it looks like the place has been looted and smashed. Somebody probably came in here and took what they could. Not that far from the chalk road. Maybe somebody got up to no good, but it's hard to say. But it looks like it's been like this for a while. It does not look like it was done recently. You see a couple of mementos, shelves and whatnot that you saw growing up. Pieces of furniture that are smashed onto the ground and whatnot. It's the kitchen area, which has been looted and destroyed mostly. But other than that, home? Question mark? The silverbacks linger outside and seem to give you all space. And it looks like the leader, she is pacing back and forth among the others while they are investigating the outside of the pen where Atticus once was. Giving you all the impression that they probably just happened upon the homestead. It seems like perhaps they've just recently discovered it. Because they're still investigating it, it looks like. But they've taken more of an interest in the outside.
Are they like, they're just walking around? Is there like a gated thing that I could like open for them if they wanted to be in like...
There is, but it is open. It looks
it is open. Okay.
It looks like it's been forced open. And again, it also looks like it has been open for a while, judging by the drag marks in the soil. The tear in the grass. It looks like this has probably been open for some time. So
I would like to make an appeal to the leader to talk, to communicate.
okay, you're gonna approach her,
Mm-hmm.
and she glances over at you as you approach, and watches you curiously. What would you like to do?
I'm approaching this entire situation the way that I would an actual raptor,
Okay.
but I'm saying the words. In order for me to best protect your pack, I need to understand you. So I'm kind of trying to communicate to the human side as well as the dinosaur side.
Okay. She stares at you.
Was worth a try.
You see her reptilian eyes. She's hard to read, but she just stares back at you.
I'm gonna stare back to try. Now I'm locked in. I need to understand these folks. How dinosaur are they? So it's just gonna be. He's just gonna observe them the way he would dinosaurs until he figures this out.
Okay. You stare back at her.
Mm-hmm.
Two of you gaze at each other for a moment before she takes a step forward and looks you over. And you see she's taking in your stance. She's taking in the way you're presenting. She's just taking it in. And she straightens up a little bit as she steps to your left and starts to slowly orbit you, like walk around you. She looks down at you.
I'm giving her the same respect that I would the leader of a raptor pack. Like, I'm clearly communicating. I understand the pecking order.
Roll me an empathy check, any kind of like reading the body language and whatnot. You can absolutely use your abilities here if you want.
Okie dokie. Yeah, I'm gonna use my Kinsiak, so I get the asset with the dinosaur.
Well, you have the speak with dinosaurs asset.
Yeah, that's where it comes from.
Oh, yeah. I mean, she is imitating that behavior right now. So if you wanted to
Okay.
use that, you could just get it.
All right, then yeah, I'm gonna use that.
Okay. So she is behaving like a raptor that is sizing you up possibly for a threat or possibly for other reasons. You get the impression that the intense interest she is taking in you, it may be that by staring her down, she may have read into that a little bit, and she is currently sizing you up, is the impression that you are starting to get. She slowly paces around you and takes a step, and looks at you a little bit, and then feigns disinterest, and takes a step, and then looks back at you again, and feigns interest, and then she does this a few more times as she lingers down a little bit. But the giveaway, and perhaps also an interesting insight to the level of technology attached to her body, is her tail seems to be exhibiting a bit of her emotional state, because you see it articulating and moving in ways that only raptor tails move, and it is responding in very much the same way that she moves. Now, raptor tails typically are just balancing beams that help them elongate, run fast, and attack. But in this case, just like they do in actual raptors, you see a slight bit of movement. It is very, very stiff and subtle, but cat-like, as she has taken more of an interest. And she steps around you again, and then takes a few steps away and turns her back on you and feigns disinterest. And at that point, Zach, she is 100% dancing with you right now. And she turns her back on you and pretends like she's not interested in you.
Yep.
Yeah, she is trying to initiate something here.
Yep, I know dinosaurs well enough to know where this is going. So I am gonna disengage you from this, Dan.
You pivot and walk right back the direction you came.
I think that's just for comedic effect. One very quiet. Nope.
As you pivot and begin to walk back, the 8-foot cybernetic dinosaur woman watches you leave and does not seem to react in any particular kind of way. She just lingers where she was. And then eventually, as you move away, she goes back to being interested in what's going on inside the pen where Atticus once was kept. Again, very much like a raptor might. Like if a mating ritual failed, raptor gets over it and goes back to being a raptor. Like just like that, kind of, she immediately shifts her focus back to the pack as you step away.
I don't want to be in this reality any longer.
What was that? Was she trying to like fight you?
Even I know what that body language is. That was flirting.
It was. I accidentally initiated a mating ritual to which I disengaged, and now I would like supper of some sort. I really quickly, all of this is because of both of you. Ozzy, I had no idea you had the ability to replicate. Just very well done. My instincts were wrong, and your instincts continue to prove to be sharper.
Joe sticks her head out from a cabinet she's been in looking for non-perishables and goes, "They're very good at stuff," and goes back into.
Shut up! No one asked you, Joe. I
like to give my opinion regardless, so take that. Echoing in the cabinet.
I was just doing what I thought you would do, because you're good at dinosaurs, and I guess I'm better with people, but maybe if I can be kind of like Zach with dinosaurs, but with a peopleosaur, and I look over his shoulder at the silverback woman, and then back to him. Seems like it splits the difference.
I would have initiated a combat that I would most likely not have survived, but I would have successfully bought you all enough time to escape. You did much better.
Well, it's a good thing that didn't happen.
Yeah, you would have missed out on your mating ritual.
It's at that moment when Ozzy says that, it becomes a sound you've been hearing but just haven't been registering finally enters context, because during this conversation, the moment you started admitting what was just happening, you've been hearing what sounded like the slow clicked wheeze of a laugh, which becomes apparent when Orega, who is slumped against the wall right now, has his head in his hand and has been trying his damnedest not to laugh out loud. And when Ozzy says that, it just catches a little too much and then raises his hand and goes, no disrespect, no disrespect.
I could kill him.
You can also threaten to kick him out too. You have that say here.
I actually forgot he was here.
I'm good at that.
He got scared, I think, actually, is what happened, more likely.
Yeah, definitely kind of, what is it called? Chicken. Something like that.
But Orega, while we're complimenting people's skills, and yeah, Ozzy, that was amazing. Orega, you got us here. That was really amazing too.
I don't think he knew this house was here.
No, I mean, to Gravak. I'm still back there.
Oh,
I
yeah,
know that was like a while ago, but like we went from one plane of existence back to our own plane of existence. That's
truth is that
wild.
You all did just as much work as I did. I was just tip of the spear. And I'm going to do it again soon and teach you all how it is done, and you'll be able to do it yourselves.
Yeah.
Well, since I already proved my worth, I'm going to just go over here and hang out by myself.
Joe uncomfortable with the notion of doing that anytime soon again. She goes, anyways, welcome to this is Uncle Eddie's house, or I guess it's kind of Atticus's house normally.
The house that Atticus built.
My headphone just died. I'm so sorry. Give me 1 second. Switching headphones.
Now's the time to talk smack. No, I'm sorry.
Yes, he has to live here mostly because they don't like dinos in the triangle. So, but it normally looks nicer than this when there's a triceratops in the backyard. But I'm sure we'll be able to find some places for everyone to sleep. It's small, it's not that big, but and she kind of starts like moving around, like suddenly realizing she doesn't know how to host, and so gonna start like looking for
this feeling of responsibility comes over you, like, oh god,
oh god, I don't know if I know how to host. She doesn't. The most she hosts is having Ozzy in the lab with her. Like, I don't think she knows. Suddenly is like not necessarily nervous, but like, what? How that? All right, I guess. What are my? I don't have a list of steps here, and so she's gonna. She couldn't find. I'm guessing couldn't find anything in the cabinets. So she's gonna go for bedding next.
Yeah, there's nothing in cabinets. There's no bedding here at all. It's just a roof over your head. Most of the debris that's located around the house looks like you could try sleeping on it, but it's mostly like broken chunks of wood, and the few things that were probably technologically worthy have long since been looted. So you're seeing pieces of stuff in here. Also, it's pretty clear from the insects that you chase out of some of the rooms, and which are, by the way, quite sizable here in the Cretaceous era, that this has become a place of respite for a number of life forms that you have to kind of shoo out. While all of this is happening, Orega, as you step away, Dahlia, Orega takes a good look at you for a moment, Clover, and just says, you and I haven't had the chance to speak since this whole mess began. I haven't had a chance to speak to you. I think the first time I saw you was actually running for our lives from Theta back at the Sati bunker.
Yeah. All true.
You don't know what it's been like since you fled the butterflies.
Again, how do you know so much about us?
Well, so what happened back in the lab was a simple parlor trick of listening in. But I only know about you because I was in the butterflies for a hot minute there.
Oh, right. I figured from your whole, once we translated, Yeah.
Essentially, that's how it works. I would say that most of the butterflies are shadows and not sparked in any way, which means it's easy to incorporate into their context, as it were. Simple matter of incorporating myself into what it is they do.
So are you, what are all those things? Shadows, sparks?
Oh, yes. I imagine you are all going to have a lot of questions. I doubt the lady of the house answered all of your questions about translating and such. Did she tell you about sparks and shadows and quickened and all that?
She did, but we were in one existence, and then we're in this one. So I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that maybe didn't translate back into my brain, if you know what I mean.
Let's put it this way. Let's say you, Clover, were able to jump into a book. Jump inside the story of a book. Once you got there, all the characters of the book are behaving like the characters of the book do. They're all following the lines that were written for them. They're all doing what it is that they do. That can't be changed. That's just their nature. That's just their story. Now imagine those people are shadows. They're people, quite real, but they're not aware of the strange. And so they follow their story. They're incapable of understanding the greater vision of the universe because they're just incorporated as written. Now, there's some that are few who have a spark. Now, imagine maybe one of those characters written into the story starts to become aware that they think they might be in a story. Or that there's something else happening out there. That's somebody who has the spark. They're becoming aware. and they can do things, become aware of things. They have the potential of understanding and being aware of the strange. And then there's you, the quickened who know about the strange, who have touched the realities out there. You're a character in the book that knows you're a character in the book, and you can write your own story. You can change things. You can manipulate things to fit a narrative you feel is for the best. You can write reality as you see it. You are more aware of everything that's happening to you. You're not bound by any preconceived notion of how you should behave in this world. You are aware of the greater universe. That is the difference between Shadow, Spark, and Quickened.
Okay.
Here's what is known about the three. No one knows how people become quickened.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask you, because did we just is it like, oh, now you're quickened, or have we always been quickened?
That is a good question.
Didn't know.
What she probably didn't tell you back at the estate is coming across someone who is quickened is incredibly rare. Coming across somebody who has the spark is rare. And then shadows are common. Coming across an entire group of people? An entire group of people? All 5 of you quickened? What they didn't tell you is that has never happened. Ever. In the history of humanity's connection with the strange.
Well, I mean, I think I have an idea of how that happened. And I look over at Dahlia. What's Dahlia?
Yeah, what is she doing
right now?
Yeah.
Trying to figure out how to flirt with this other silverback.
So outside, just kind of being a raptor.
Okay.
That's great. Okay, so I look out the window. I imagine we're inside. I don't know.
Dahlia is having an interaction. The large silverback is expressing curiosity in her and doesn't seem to be getting the hint. And it's kind of just checking, just trying to mimic what Dahlia's doing.
Zach, what's going on over there?
I find it's better not to ask questions when Dahlia has decided to do things.
Yeah, I turn back to Orega, overhearing that interchange too, and I say, well, when she's not doing the dance of the dinos.
Oh, you know how raptors mate. Does she know what she's doing?
She's a very confident, self-assured person, so I'm going to say yeah.
All right.
But I was going to say, when she's not doing the dance of the dinos, our friend Dahlia here seems to have some, as you said, she's a paradox or whatever. I think she brought us together. I think she's the reason we all.
I believe that. I do,
here.
because here's the thing about Dahlia. And again, I don't think this is something Manners told all of you. Theta is also a very powerful paradox and is capable of doing some pretty incredible things with her technologies. Creating simulacrums of herself is one of the things that she can do. The simulacrums of herself that she creates should function like shadows. They simply do as they are programmed to do. Dahlia has become quickened. How the fuck did that happen? How is that fucking possible? And I'm sure, judging from the reactions that I saw, Theta is probably asking herself the same fucking question.
Zach is just gonna stand up at that and go, I'm gonna hunt food for us, and just beeline out of this.
You stomp out the door. You walk past you if you can imagine the camera following you as you step out of the house, walking right past what looks like a large cybernetic human that is currently rubbing his face up against Dahlia's face as you step out into the front yard. Apparently he's finally catching on.
Yeah, it's not even acknowledging. Just like
You just keep going.
it's at the conversation of Theta and Dahlia. It's just like, all right, I'm out. This is no.
Okay. All right. So you stomp off into the wilds. Okay, so then we will get to you in a second then, Zach, because if you're heading out just as sun is setting, then you are going to need to make some rolls. What are the rest of y'all doing?
Still dancing.
Okay. So, depending on where you want to go with that, Dahlia, it's going to continue progressing.
So in every subsequent scene, out of focus,
There
we
is a
have
little
the interaction.
Yeah, depending on how far this goes, Dahlia, out of focus, there will be, in fact, a nature documentary taking place outside. Otherwise,
I mean, I'm interested in social economics anyways, or social stuff. So yeah, like let's just.
What I
I
mean,
gotta document somehow.
Further reason for Zach to be hunting right now.
So while that's happening, the inside the house, Orega is. You can see he is currently. He looks like he's getting a little bit of his color back. Like he looks like he's kind of recovering a little bit. To the extent where he's standing up a little easier and moving a little bit easier. At one point, he moves back over to you, Clover, and looking back at the other two friends.
Joe has kind of made herself scarce. She's moving around the house, pretending that it doesn't bother her that things are missing.
Yeah. He leans against the window facing the east and looks back at you, Clover, and says, "Butterflies are going to be a real problem for Silvercreek."
Always have been.
There aren't any followers of Aldane left. Arco's pretty much murdered or driven off everyone, but there was whispers that Arco had become something of a paranoid, delusional maniac and was going to start hunting down any of the survivors like yourself for fear that you all might band together to start a new faction.
Oh my God. I wish Arco could understand how little I care about. Actually, no, I take it back. It's not that I don't care. It's that I don't know if you ever were part of a group that you were just kind of born into. You just woke up and realized, oh, I'm part of this hierarchy, this whole way of thinking. And I don't feel that way. I don't think that way. But they think they're the center of the universe, where they're not even the center of this universe, turns out. But they just can't let us go. They can't let us just be who we are. Even once we're gone and out of sight, out of mind. Doesn't work that way with them.
This is in many ways what it is like being Quicken interacting with shadows. It can be frustrating, as it seems they are dead set on their programming, as it were. In the case of Arco, he has absolutely become everything you would expect a murderous dictator of a faction to be. He is trying to solidify his power and kill anyone who says anything. And he's using the religion of the butterflies to do it.
Of course.
He's become very dangerous.
That makes me worried for my friends and family there. Do you, how long ago were you with them?
The last time I saw Arco would have been roughly a week ago.
Oh. Clover's gonna now, because this is just kind of improvising it with you. Clover's gonna ask about specific people.
He goes through the list knowing who you're talking about, and one by one, it's grim news. There's a few that managed to flee. But after you managed to escape, Arco became murderous and started demanding, very much like he did with you, started demanding that people swear fealty to him, the king of butterflies, or that he would do to them what he did to Aldane, Echo's sister. And sure enough, one by one, as he goes down the list, he either answers, "I don't know," or "No, I'm afraid not."
Okay. Do you think, how soon do you think Arco might make a move?
Depends what his objectives are. I don't know how much he cares about Silvercreek. I think he has his eyes on something much bigger. But I'm not sure. All I know is once we get this ridiculous Theta situation under control and Gravak is once again protected from the planetivores, you are going to have to deal with the butterflies here.
Yeah, kind of felt like my time with him wasn't completely over.
It's not fair to assume that it's going to be you, but the truth is, Clover, is you're quickened now. You are awakened to this world. You, and whether you like it or not, the rest of you and your friends can now manipulate the realities around you. Kind of puts you in an unfortunate position of responsibility that many of the quickened do not like. This happens on Earth too, by the way.
Wait, so you're saying that, like, the cool stuff that Dahlia does, we could maybe do that too?
It wouldn't happen the way Dahlia does it, but yes. Quickens have the ability to change things around them. Reality can be rewritten. You will all learn how to do it. Paradoxes are the most extreme examples. They can literally rewrite the rules of a recursion. It's not easy, and to do it depends on the scale in which they do it. Typically, it's a personal scale, but stranger things have happened.
Clover gets up and starts kind of excitedly pacing. So, okay. Earlier today when we got here and I saw those people out there, all my training for butterflies and just, that kicked in immediately.
Give me 1 second. Just give me one second. He closes the window as you're starting to hear howls of ecstasy outside. He just closes the door. Just
my God.
Clicks it and goes, "That is very distracting."
Is Dahlia okay?
I think she's doing just great. I just couldn't hear what you were saying. It was very distracting. Please continue.
Yes. Yeah. So what was I saying? Oh yeah.
Exactly.
Earlier today when we got here, I saw those people, the raptor people, and it was fear. It was, stay away, be safe around them. But then something kind of clicked in and I looked at them and it wasn't just like, I love tech. I love looking at tech and learning it, but it wasn't just that. It felt like if I really wanted to, if I really needed to, I could stop them.
He nods slowly and says, "I've seen it happen. You and each one of you, the things that you do, the things that you've always done, you can now do them in ways you never thought possible. And none of them will make a lot of sense. The things that we saw Ozzy do today are unique. And unique to them. They are, as you've seen, very powerful. They turned a pack of silverpacks into allies. That is..." Can you imagine what Arco would do with that power?
Clover sits back down on the couch.
But know that much about Arco, but I feel relatively sure that he is not quickened. It doesn't make him any less dangerous. The butterflies that are left are loyal to him, so he is leader of a very efficient, very dangerous. I don't need to tell you.
Well,
Butterflies are quite the opponent if they choose to be yours.
wait, so yeah, you said Shirley left and Clue and I just list off all the people
Mhm.
doing a tally. I'm like, so
She-
how many are left?
Of the butterflies?
Yeah, with Arco.
Well, at least 20 were killed. So 20 were killed, about 10 fled. That would lead roughly 200 with Arco.
And they're all pretty much loyal, it seems.
Seems.
Hmm.
Some of them are dangerous, as you can imagine. The one that I used to travel with, she was very much a fanatic and believer of Arco's vision. They want to raise Kaleno City to the ground. Ultimately, they want to kill every human inside, destroy every piece of technology, murder every dinosaur that has a piece of tech in them, set the rest free. Essentially assure that when the big stone finally arrives, that it wipes out everybody in this recursion the way it was meant to. At least that's what they believe.
Don't I know it? So that much hasn't changed.
No, that much has not changed. I just don't
You
know
know-
if Arco actually gives a damn about the butterfly philosophy. I think he gets more of a high off of telling people what to do and murdering people.
You know, I totally forgot that you're like an interdimensional space criminal. It's been nice talking to you.
Thank you. Yes, this will be my 5th recursion.
5th?
I've been to 5 other worlds. Luna 1 happens to be one I've been to. So if we run into someone who recognizes me, let me do the talking.
Oh, please. That's not my strength anyway. Also, well, yeah, there seems to be some like something funky happening when there's tech, and another recursion doesn't always work. So
It depends on the context of the recursion. Imagine this. Imagine that storybook I told you about before. And imagine it's a story about people who travel on wagons and who have never seen a computer in their lives. Then imagine I stepped into the book and I took a pen and wrote, and then they pulled a laser pistol and shot the sheriff. And then I gave it back to the librarian. The librarian would see that and be like, how could you? They would take the whiteout and remove that so that they could keep the story the way it was. That is how reality treats things that do not belong in the recursion. You step into a recursion that's, just say, filled with magic, which is something you are not familiar with, but a concept of using fantasy or magic to do things. Stepping into a recursion with, say, a rocket launcher or a fusion weapon of some kind or a dinosaur with cybernetics, that reality will white out anything that does not belong there over a certain period of time. The only thing it cannot white out is you, quickened, who contradict the rules of the reality, can do so at the whim. And this is what leads us to the betrayer. A man who made himself literally a god in his recursion because he could. Formerly a member of the estate, trying to find his way back to Earth and filled with rage. He let the worst of this get to him. Murdered his best friend, man who discovered the strange, and now he wants to side with Planetivores to destroy everything so he can become an even greater god. Now you know. You all, whether you like it or not, have just become this entire world's defenders. I didn't want to say anything because I've noticed that Jo doesn't take these kinds of revelations very well. She tends to freak out. So I figured I'd tell you. You're kind of the champions of Gravak at this point. Anything that's going to challenge this reality or try to destroy everything that is here is going to have to go up against all of you to do it.
Like the Planetivores and...
There's
What?
no fighting a Planetivore. There's only making sure they can't show up at your doorstep.
Oh, good. That sounds much better.
Yeah, no, you cannot fight them. You cannot fight them. There is no tactic, there's no power, there is no manipulation. The only thing you can do is never allow them to enter your world. And that won't happen. Because the estate, whether they like you or not, will back you. In order for Earth to survive, Gravak must survive. In order for Gravak to survive, Earth must survive. So, it is a mutually beneficial relationship for everyone. We're not alone. But if a Planetivore does show up, you will have the option of staying and dying or jumping into another recursion. Let's make sure it never comes to that.
Yeah. That would be good.
Last thing I'm going to tell you, though, Clover, because I can see it in your eyes. Same way I can kind of see it in some of the others. Dahlia being one of them. That strange one who wears the face of a robot that wants to kill us all. You're going to want to see more. And I cannot stress this enough. It is infinite. Anything you can imagine and beyond your imagination is in the strange. Worlds that make no sense. Entire civilizations that live in clouds, that are clouds. You can name it. It's out there. It's all real. These pocket realities. My very first recursion. Terrifying. It's at the bottom of a vast ocean. And when I arrived in the recursion, I became... I'm not playing with you now. Part fish. It was disorienting to say the least. But when you step into a new recursion, you are adopted into that world. You become part of it. It accepts you. If you were to step into a world where everyone is made of living fire, you step into a world made of living fire. You become just like everyone else as you change to the reality. It's quite an experience.
Wow.
So you can see why I do what I do. Jumping to recursions and stealing things. It's profitable and exciting.
It funds your addiction to finding new recursions, it sounds like.
And I've done a decent job of not pissing off the estate. For the most part, people like me who learn how to jump in through the strange and to mine recursions, as they call us. They call us recursion miners, but what we are is we're thieves. The truth is if we don't go too overboard, the estate is willing to look past what we do. But every now and then, one of us does something stupid and brings back a weapon or something worse that can exist on Earth and becomes a problem. That's not typically my style, but in the case of the device that Ozzy has, I didn't know what I was getting into until it was too late. My bad.
Who am I to judge?
Well, I'm out of the game either way. Once I take you all to Luna 1, it's time for me to disappear for a while. The estate is going to be very disappointed with me for some time. They don't like it when they have to arrest you, and they don't like it when they have to chase you.
You have a very strange relationship with the estate.
It used to be this complicated, but for lack of a better way of saying it, this time I fucked up. If I'm not careful, they will simply find a recursion for me and lock me there. If you are ordained, it's a humane prison, if nothing else. They'll probably find me a nice place filled with flowers and dandelions and nice people who bake pies. But being locked away from home is not fun.
Yeah, I wouldn't want that. But also, I mean, you're right. I do want to see more. I've been
Maybe you and I could form a partnership or something when this is all over. I could show you a bit of the ropes. I could take you to under the ocean. You've ever wanted to see fish people?
maybe. Let me think about it.
Take your time. But don't take too long. Once we have finished our business on Luna 1, it's very unlikely any of you will see me again. You seem disgusted by this idea.
Oh, sorry. My face just sometimes does things.
Of course! And I'm terrible at reading people, so who knows what you could actually be thinking right now. Sarcasm. I'm reading disgust on your face.
Sorry, I did it again. This is the longest conversation I've had in a long time. I'm so sorry.
Maybe we get some sleep then.
Okay, cool. Clover will like walk off into somewhere else in the house, just super awkwardly, realizing that she social human for a long time.
He opens the window, waits, and then fully opens it after a few moments, and then leans back, kind of stretches out a bit. Is anybody else doing anything before I cut to the hunter stalking in the darkness?
I think Dahlia comes back in a little bit disheveled.
Relaxed, disheveled, and
Somehow has a cigarette.
and probably just like, that was new. Definitely new. Not how they do it in Kaleno. But yeah, you see the interior of the house. For the most part, Dahlia, it looks like there's plenty of room in here for all of you. It is going to be roughing it. There's no like place to make a bed or anything like that. But at the very least, it is very defensible, and it is.
Shower?
No, there's no shower here or anything like that, unfortunately.
Great.
I think Joe's just like I said, most stuff has been like taken or broken. If there's anything that can be righted, she will do so. Like,
I would let that be a roll because you're kind of a technical genius, so I'm sure you can MacGyver something.
yeah, just like if there is any lights that can come on, anything like that, or even just like there's a chair that's still in here and she'll put it back up on all four legs, like that kind of a thing.
Okay.
Like just the full spectrum of what can she do. I think she's busy work until she crashes is kind of
okay. I'll let you
the
do
mindset.
that. I think I don't think that requires a roll. I think that your technical expertise, this being your house, and you putting stuff back together, just kind of happens naturally.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what she's up to.
Okay. In which case, there are few things more dangerous that you can do with yourself than wander the fields and the outskirts, the Red Jaw Wilds, after the sun has gone below the horizon.
Yep.
But for you, Zach, this is something you've been training with for some time now. You remember going out on outings all the time with Piper and her mother, Alice, since you were a kid. Both of them teaching you the ropes. Alice Skystone was the most hardcore woman you had ever met in your life. She was known for being, to just give you a brief description, she was a ripped middle-aged amputee with a penchant to be able to snipe from long range without having to use a scope. She was incredibly antisocial to anyone who was not part of Silvercreek, but quick to be loyal as fuck if she found out that you were going to be joining the pack, as it were. You kind of can't help but make some of the parallels between some of the personality traits that you yourself have picked up and your time training underneath Alice Skystone. When she died, Piper didn't even allow herself time to mourn her mother's death. She picked up her mother's weapons and she went to work. And you have been supporting Silvercreek with Piper ever since. Out here by yourself reminds you of those few nights where you decided to push the envelope a little bit and test how good you really are. How well can you protect people living out here on the edge?
Just, I think there's just a point where he's gone out and he just stops and leans on a tree branch. He just mutters to himself, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah, you're not supposed to.
What the fuck?
That we're supposed to be raptors. We hunt in packs. You can't go out alone. You'll ruin it.
Oh my god.
Yes.
I am out of it. I didn't even hear you.
Good, then I'm ready.
You shouldn't be here. This is dumb.
You offered to teach me before. Cashing in. Aussie Crit, reporting for duty. And also checking on you, because I was taught that it was dark. You were supposed to be careful when it's dark, and going out alone when it's dark sounds like a really bad idea, but I don't know. I'm not the one with the solar chainsaw.
It's going out alone when it's dark is suicide. I'm glad that you listened.
Is that you didn't... Zach, are you okay?
Did you feel it when we came back? Everything. Just everything.
Yeah, but kind of skewed toward nausea. I feel like there might be a more emotional component I'm not getting yet.
Karn are trained to live on the land and to protect the village with our lives, and a village, Silvercreek, it's just, in the grand scheme of things, it's so small.
Yeah. I mean, Joe taught me that our cells are small, but we need all of them to make up a Zach. And some of them are protector cells. I know that one.
Why don't you want to go home, Ozzy? What's in that city that's got you so spooked?
Oh, I can't go back there.
You can go from one reality to another. I'm pretty sure you could take a couple of steps in that direction.
Okay, I can't go back there. Like Oreg, I can't go back to the estate. How's that?
Doesn't it seem kind of pointless now, though? I mean, you're not allowed to go to one city in a world where we got left behind.
Yeah, but everyone here still matters.
6 months ago, everyone here was almost wiped out and we wouldn't have had a clue. So much for protecting the village.
Well, now you can, because we're all quick and stuff, which apparently is important.
Right.
Sounds like someone who spends his life putting himself in danger for everyone else. doesn't know who to put himself in front of anymore.
The whole point. My father was Karn. His father was Karn. My dad didn't make it back on a trip looking for some time, whatever. Mom couldn't take it, left to join the butterflies, and that has defined me, and it's all so nothing now. It's all nothing. I could just leave. We all could just leave. Do you know how infatuated I have been with Talia, and then to find out there's that she's a part of a clone of an evil AI. I can't fathom this. It's too much. Sorry. Stay low, stay quiet.
Oh, no. You're in my house now. You're real. Dahlia's real. Your parents were and maybe are real. And if you think I'm not sticking a pin in that, you haven't gotten to know me at all. But everything that mattered before still matters. There's just more stuff to matter. And we've got to protect bigger. You're a Karn. You're the shield. And I thought this was the shield when I took it. And we both need to figure out the version of that shield that's still real. And I'm guessing it's probably different for us. And I look at your solar chain, so I look back up. But the mission doesn't change. You knew a village wasn't the whole world from the day you were first had a bow in your hand. But the village always mattered.
We shouldn't have to live like this. It's the thing, and we don't have to. We can protect the village from the estate. We could protect the village from, I don't know, a world where there aren't fucking dinosaurs trying to kill us every goddamn second.
It's true. We don't have to. So where do you choose to protect them from now?
This is the longest I've talked to you without yelling at you.
I'm so aware. It's weirdly kind of nice, and I didn't realize until I started talking that you make sense to me. I mostly thought you were stoic and angry and scary, but also really strong and cool.
You are very smart in the angry keep the dinosaurs at bay. They have an angrier face than me, so I have to. You're not staying low or quiet.
I can do one of those really easily, but one of those is going to be hard. And I squat like real low.
what you did today. I mean it. I would have put an arrow in the heart of one of those silverbacks, and I get them. This place is, it's home, but it's broken, and in a broken home, you have to do what you can to survive. I had no right to aim. Thank you for making sure I didn't fire.
Shields gotta look out for each other. Shoulder
I'm
bump.
also gonna have to thank Dahlia. That'll be. I'm scared of her.
That's very healthy, and also, might I, with just a slight bit more context, recommend that you wait on that particular activity.
You don't think she actually went through with the. I don't want to know.
I look back over my shoulder and just let the timelines line up of when Orega closed the window.
If only anybody in this world had the phrase "when in Rome."
Yeah, Dahlia invents that phrase.
Yeah. Yep. When it's the homestead.
I think the last thing Zach is gonna say is, since we've gotten here, whenever you talk about your home and Joe, yeah, see, your face does that. Be easy on yourself. You're in my house now.
Well then, I better drop low and be quiet.
And I think he's gonna, from that point on, it's gonna be a hunting lesson.
The two of you rise and stalk off, keeping your heads down into the exterior of the Red Jaw Wilds, while overhead, under a beautiful primeval sky here in the Cretaceous period, there is the briefest red streak of a falling star that just catches across the sky. Whatever this universe is outside of a recursion or whatever else, the one thing it definitely is home. And the two of you manage to find yourselves in a moment of grounding as you push through into the trees of this dangerous world that is where you have always known and everything you've grown up, the bonds that you have formed because of survival and the communities that are built up around you. And you take Ozzy on their very first hunting trip into the Red Jaw Wilds. And that is where we are going to leave tonight's chapter. And we pick up next week. We are going to do a quick hop into another recursion that is well beyond what this one is. But it is safe to say that aside from that one hop, it would appear, at least for the moment, that we have returned to predation with a lot on our plates. So next episode will probably be our last one for the hot minute of us leaping out of Gravak to get whatever it is that Ozzy is hoping to get. Ozzy's got an agenda. So we will pick it up next week. But really just fucking great game tonight, you guys. It was a lot of fun. Tonight was great.
Everybody was so good.
Yeah.
I was enraptured.
You were, or Cynthia? Never mind. I think Cynthia was enraptured, wasn't it?
Wait, so was it the same one that you thralled?
Yes, that was the one
Okay.
that I had. Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Just
The hostile
making
one.
sure.
Yeah. No, it was
They
great.
made intense eye contact for 10 minutes and then
Prolonged
That'll do
eye contact.
That'll do it.
Prolonged eye
eye
contact.
contact.
I mean, I don't begrudge anyone working off the amount of stress that you all have racked up, jumping realities and running for your lives for the past couple of weeks. So, but that'll wrap us out for tonight, y'all. Again, just really fucking great game. This was such a great session. I will catch all of you with the rest of the Stream Punks back here next Monday night for the next chapter in Legacy of Silvercreek. And until then, see you 66 million years from now.
As we wrap up today's thrilling recording on Predation, remember that you can catch it live on Twitch at twitch.tv/Althaven every Monday night at 6 p.m. PST. Explore our diverse podcast library, from the $2 creature feature to pest control and beyond. Dive into our rich archive, featuring everything from the eerie mysteries of ghosts and werewolves to the epic adventures of Star Trek and superheroes. Your continued support fuels Althaven's journey, so please consider supporting us on Ko-Fi to help create more shows like this. Join our lively Discord community to stay updated on upcoming Haven events. Until next time, keep exploring, keep listening, and keep the Haven spirit alive. Thank you for being a cherished part of Althaven.